Hey everybody, what's happening? It's Steven
and Spencer.
Today we are bringing you video number 3 of our presentation for project success in your class, and what we're going to talk about today is decision making. Decision making kind of builds onto communication. It's something that you will do for the rest of your life. You're going to have daily decisions, you're going to have long-term decisions, and so what's really cool about decision making is we tried to break this down to be as simple as possible for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of define it, we're going to talk some about it, and then we're going to give you some practical steps to be the best decision maker that you can be.
Yeah. So like Steven said, first we'll start off by defining what decision making is. And it's the active process of making a decision, obviously. Pretty simple definition, but that's what the dictionary tells us.
So that's true, and so we have narrowed it down to 6 ways that teenagers and people make decisions on a regular basis. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cover some of those. And so the first one that we're going to cover is impulsiveness. This is something that's done without much thought. So this could be, maybe you're at Walmart or you're at the dollar store or wherever you're at, and you're like, you know what, I want that candy bar, and you just decide to grab it. Or you're at the mall and you decide, you know what, I'm just going to buy those pair of shoes, or I'm going to buy that shirt. Whatever it might be, you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And so that is the impulsiveness when it comes to making decisions. I personally don't think this is the greatest idea, especially with the method that we're going to give you to make better decisions. I don't think impulsiveness is the best way, but it is one way, one of 6 that we'll talk about today. The second one is compliance. This is choosing the most pleasing, comfortable, and popular option as it pertains to those impacted. So for example, this could be a group of your friends send out a group text and say, hey, we're going to go to this place and have dinner. And you're like, you know what, I'm really just kind of hanging out at home. I'm not really feeling like I'm going to go anywhere or do anything. But this is a decision you have to make, and it's the most pleasing to everybody involved. You don't want to get that pushback from those that say like, oh man, why aren't you coming? Like, we want you to be there. This says, okay, I'm going to go there. It's going to be pleasing because I'm there, comfortable, popular option. So it's really kind of a simple way, but it's a realistic way. It's almost kind of like peer pressure in a sense, I would say.
In a sense, I would, yeah.
You know, with the fact that like, hey, you want to go? I have a hard time saying no.
Not necessarily negative peer pressure, but yeah, no. Peer pressure.
Yeah, not negative at all. But some sort of like, hey, you know what, I'm going to comply and I'm going to go with the crowd. So that's definitely one way as well. The next one is delegating. So this is not making the decision yourself, but pushing it off on a trusted person or a trusted whoever it might be. It could be an adult, it could be a friend, it could be whoever. So this one is interesting because this is Spencer and I. This is us when it comes to lunch, and one of our other co-workers.
So many times.
We do not ever make the decision. We always say like, what do you feel like? And what do you feel like? So it's kind of like, who jumps to that question first is the one that gets to push the other person to make the decision. Mm-hmm. So it's good because it does mean that you trust that person and the decision that they're going to make, and it's something that you'll kind of, all right, yeah, we can do that. Now when there's more people, it could definitely be more compliance when it comes to the decision making, but we definitely make this decision when it comes to where we're going to eat. So these are obviously the first 3: impulsive, compliance, and delegating.
So we'll go over the next 3 now, guys. So the first one is avoiding or deflecting. This is avoiding or ignoring decisions in an effort to avoid responsibility for their impact. So this could be something you would do when you want to make a decision that you know could be something bad, or you know, a big decision in your life, and you kind of want to avoid the responsibility of making that decision.
Homework,
yeah. I mean, right now it could be even just waking up and getting on your Zoom classes and you're logging into your Google Classroom and things like that.
Absolutely.
Next one would be balancing, which is weighing the factors involved, studying them, and using that information to make the best decision for yourself in that moment. This one's really important, guys. That's kind of one of the keys to making good decisions, is the balance there.
Yeah.
Weighing all your options and figuring out what would be the best decision to make at that time. And lastly, we have prioritizing and reflecting, which is putting the most effort or energy, thought, and effort into those decisions that will have the greatest impact. So these are just big life decisions, guys. So this could be, you know, what you want to do for college.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to do a trade school, 4-year university, do the junior college route? What do you want to pick for your career? Things like that. And that's when you want to prioritize and then reflect back and see, hey, I made that decision. Was that a good decision for me? If it wasn't a good decision, how could you make that a better decision in the future?
So when it comes to decisions, there are decisions that are large, that are going to be lifetime, whether it's who you're going to marry, what schools, like Spencer said, you're going to go to, or what you're going to do for a job. Whatever it might be, those are really big decisions. But we're making decisions every single day. We've made a list of about 10 things that we believe almost every class has asked us or given us as a response for decisions that they make. So we're going to run through those real quickly, and then we'll break a couple of them down. So the first one says, what am I going to eat? Obviously that's important. Make sure you eat. Should I listen to my parents? What should I wear? Should I brush my teeth? When should I wake up? Who should I hang out with? Should I take a shower? Should I use deodorant? How long should I play video games? And how much effort should I put into whatever it might be? So, for example, or first, should I listen to my parents? Yes, you should listen to your parents, whether it comes to your homework, your chores, becoming a better person, a healthier person. You should listen to your parents. If it's immoral and things of that nature, obviously you want to seek somebody to get more advice. But yes, typically you should listen to your parents. We're going to wrap this one up and say, should I brush my teeth and take a shower, use deodorant?
Yes.
The answer is yes to all
single
three,
day.
especially if you're in middle school. And then the one we'll talk about for a second is, when should I wake up? We know with distance learning right now, you kind of have a little bit of free time, some availability to sleep in a little bit later. Make sure you're setting up a routine and making sure you set up that time that you need to wake up so you're fresh for class. And then I think the other one we should talk about is, how much effort should I put into? How much effort should you put into school? How much effort should you put into relationships? Now, the outcome is generally how much effort you put into it, especially when it comes to school. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's a really difficult time for you to be in school. And so you can relax if you're a very good student. If you're a poor student, this might be really difficult for you, and you might just get frustrated and say, I'm not going to put that much effort into it. Mm-hmm. We get it. And so we're going to share our information at the end of the video. So if you have any questions, you can call us. But we want you to know that these are some of the decisions, some of the major decisions that you guys make every single day. And it's not limited to just these 10. But you are making decisions, so many decisions every single day.
For sure. And remember, guys, too, with this last one here, how much effort should you put into whatever? You get back what you put in. Absolutely. So if you put very little effort into school, you're going to get very little in return. Same thing with relationships, whether it's a friendship, romantic, whatever it may be. So you're going to, the more effort you put in, the more you're going to get back from whatever you're doing.
100%. That's a good point.
So here, this says, we are involved in making decisions every day. Some of them are made without much thought, while others require more time and effort. Many of our decisions are influenced one way or another by other people. So let's talk about that first part there, guys. Some are done without much thought. So we talked about, on the previous slide, there was a part that said, what should I wear, right? Mm-hmm. So we always like to tell the story of the young lady we had in class who went through 10 to 15 outfits that morning of school, trying to figure out what she wanted to wear. Yeah. So for her, that was a big decision for the day.
Huge. Yeah.
Now, for people like me and Steven, what we wear on a daily basis isn't that big of a decision for us. We just kind of grab something out of the closet, as long as it's clean, we're good to go.
Yeah. Give it the smell test.
Yeah, good. Sometimes, yeah. But for this young lady, like, what she wears on a daily basis was very important to her. So when making decisions, we got to understand what's important to us, what are big decisions, what are non-big decisions. For some people, brushing your teeth, isn't something you much think about, whatever it may be, so. But for other people, it's something that you have to remind, like, hey, go ahead and make sure you brush your teeth today. Make sure, So some are done without much thought. Some are done with a lot of thought. We think about them heavily. And we have here, many of our decisions are influenced by people around us. It's really important. We talked about delegating earlier. But that delegating is done with somebody that you trust, because you trust they know you and they're going to have your best interest at heart. So it's important when you're making decisions to not let negative people around you influence those decisions, because they may not have your best interest at heart. Yeah. They may be only thinking of themselves. I'm not saying that's always the case, but it could be the case where they're thinking of themselves, what's best for them, and so they guide you towards a decision because of that.
Absolutely. That's a good point. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you 3 easy steps to better decision making. So that's what we're going to do. This first one that we're going to cover is clarify. So clarify is super important. You need to clarify what your goal is, or what it is that you're trying to do. So we talked about before with our SMART goals, having this process. Mm-hmm. Now we got to clarify this thing. What do we want? And so if it's going to a university to play sports, or if it's going to a very world-renowned baking school, whatever it might be, or if you want to go study drama, whatever it might be, you need to clarify what it is. And the way you clarify things is you can ask these questions. You can say, hey, you know what is it that I want to do? Why do I want to do these things? Who is around me that can help me make this happen? And clarifying this gives you a clearer vision and focus on where you're trying to go. And that's really important when it comes to decision making, is that you know where you're headed. You don't want to just do a random shot in the dark, because you'll never know what you're trying to aim for. So when you clarify what it is, that the decision that you're making, whether it's what clothes you're going to wear, whether it's what you're going to study in school, who you're going to marry, any of those things, you need to clarify that and break it down as simple as possible. And sometimes the ways to do that could be making a pros and cons list, just listing things out and clarifying things so you know what it is that you want to do.
So next we have consider. This is where that balancing part comes in. This is where you kind of weigh your options and you see what's best for you. You're considering, what can I do? Who's going to be involved? What do I need to do? So you're just weighing out everything and deciding, okay, what's the best route for me right now in this moment? So consider is a very important part of your decision-making process, guys.
And then we have choose. Choose is obviously the final step. We have clarify, we have consider, and then we have choose. So those three letters, or the three C's we sometimes call them, is to clarify, to consider, and choose, is really simple. Now, breaking those down sometimes can be a little bit more challenging, and this is usually the hardest step, because this means you've laid all the options on the table and you have to pick one. Now, if you lay 15 outfits on the table, you might have to clarify and consider why you might wear one outfit over another. You might have to look at why you would choose one school over a different school. It could be finances, it could be distance, it could be a number of things. But then you have to make that decision. You have to choose that. And that really is important, because ultimately, as Spencer said, you want to surround yourself with people that are going to help you make better, healthy decisions for your life. And that's kind of the goal, is making healthy decisions for your life. And so if once you choose that and you've made your decision, it really is about making good, healthy choices, whether it's education or health or whatever it might be. It's really, really important.
So if you follow our 3 easy steps here, guys, clarify, consider, and choose, you're going to come out making better decisions. Now, like Steven said, it's a simple process. It's only 3 steps, but sometimes going through that process can be a little bit more difficult. Maybe for some of you, picking your outfit is an easy thing. Maybe for some of you, it's not. Yeah. Maybe, and think about things like life decisions. Where am I going to go to college? What am I going to do for a career? Whatever. Who am I going to be friends with? Could be a big one too. So going through this process sometimes isn't always very easy, but it is a simple process when you break it down like this.
And so when it comes to decision making, this is not a foolproof system. This is consistently being redone, revamped, and it's something that you have to do. You have to look at these different things, clarifying different things, considering different things. Who are those people in your inner circle that maybe were good at one point, but they're more toxic now? And it's not good for your health and the decisions that you're going to make in your life. And so when you add all those things up, decision making is something you're going to do every single day. Just like communication, you're going to need to surround yourself with good people, good ideas. You're going to have to start being analytical in the things that you want and the things that you've done to help make better decisions as you continue to get older, as you go into high school and then into adulthood.
Definitely.
So we're going to kind of wrap it up. Typically, we would tell you that we have our YouTube channel on there. We don't have our YouTube channel on there today, but you could check us out on YouTube. It's Nexus Youth and Family Services, and you can hit the subscribe link and then hit the little bell. So anytime we send new videos out, you'll get noticed, that you'll hear a notice, and then you can come check out the video, whatever Spencer and I have put up there. You can always give us a call. Our telephone number is 209-257-1980. Listen to the extension, pick Spencer or Steven. We'd love to help you. We'd love to talk to you about whatever's going on, and just be there any way we can.
Most definitely. And as always, guys, stay healthy and stay safe.